Yeah, God loves ugly, bitch. It's the REviewAnew podcast. What's going on, y'all? I'm DJ.
And I'm Will the Greatest.
And this is the podcast where we typically take a second look at our or your favorite pieces of media, be they movies or albums. And today we've got a request for Atmosphere's God Loves Ugly from 2002, requested by Deep Fried Leviathan. Thank you so much for your request.
Damn.
And if you'd like to make a request too, go to Ko-fi.com/RapCritic. Get with it, act like you want it. You can make requests for either albums for us to listen to, movies for us to review, or live streams. And you go to the website, lock in the request, and you can get because there's a movie request. You know what I'm saying? There's a bit of a backlog of those. So if you want to get priority requesting, you can do that too. You know what I'm saying? Or for a Rap Critic request, you can get that priority requested. We got requests in a certain order. But if you want to throw yours up ahead, you know what I'm saying? Get with it, act like you want it, And of course, patreon.com/RapCritic if you want to get these episodes early. I'm doing a thing where I'm putting up the previous episode publicly while I'm uploading the newest one, you know what I'm saying? Get on a bit of a cycle like that, so it can be like, oh, you can check out the new stuff publicly, and then if you want more, you know what I'm saying, go check out your boy's new stuff, So get with all that, act like you want it. And if people enjoy your commentary, before we get started, where can they check your stuff out at?
Yeah, if they're looking for me, they can find me on my YouTube and Instagram, both at Will the Greatest. You can also check me out on my own podcast with my co-host, the real Aaron Alexander of The Real Rejects, called The Ace Podcast, ACE Podcast everywhere. Podcasts are available. We just did an episode about Wicked and politics. That was fun. You can imagine what that conversation was like.
We actually got into a little bit of a...
We did.
Anti-politics talk with the motherfucking Red Hulk movie.
Yeah.
The Captain America Red Hulk movie, Yeah, you could call it Brave New World, but what the fuck does Brave New World have to do with any fucking thing?
I mean, the original title was New World Order, which I'm like, that's way more appropriate. I understand the concerns for anti-Semitism, but a shadowy cabal of a government organization makes sense for the premise.
Yeah, and what sucks is that, so the way they got to Brave New World from New World Order is more just feels underwhelming, right? Of being so you just named it that, not because you were trying to allude to that sort of that book that is kind of a political allegory about things going, but just because you just kind of wanted to back off from another title,
Yeah, there was a lot of back off decisions that wound up being made throughout the production of this movie, which... I'm sure that's going to have its own book someday. I'm very curious.
Indeed.
I want the documentary of what happened with this movie. As I say that as somebody that actually likes it too, a fair bit.
But you know what? That's a podcast for another day.
And
I say that as someone who it was so interesting that it's we really are time stamping when this podcast is coming out, folks. But
yes.
It was just because I see what you mean in terms of it being it was such a cool, interesting premise. So many Marvel movies, when I look at the movies that end up being not as good, even when I think about their premises, it's they still seem really cool. Thor 4, for God's sake, still seems like a really cool premise when you think about it. Christian Bale playing the God Butcherer, these are cool premises. They just don't fulfill them,
Yeah, it's some land pretty well, some land 2/3 well, and then us watching Love and Thunder, we're well, hopefully the kids enjoyed it. This seemed like a movie for them. Hopefully the kids and family enjoyed it. It's you know what? Sometimes you realize you're not the target demographic, and that's okay. It's okay and then for people to like things that you don't like.
Exactly, and then sometimes you're one of the people who end up liking Quadrophenia or Quadromania or whatever the hell the anime one was.
I enjoyed that man's villain role.
Yeah, exactly. Then he was in it, and you're oh, well, goddamn it.
That accidental villain. He got acquitted, so I don't know what to say. But
who got acquitted?
Acting was good, and that's where I'll leave it at.
Yeah. Wait, he got acquitted? I thought he got
not acquitted. I'm sorry. It's
because that's why the Disney dropped him, isn't it? Because he got
because he was found guilty.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am not on the side of abusers. I don't agree with that shit. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Man, it's so fucked up. Oh, god damn it.
Let's talk about
what conversations do. They lead you into Because now I'm thinking about, like, I remember actually Nando at the movies brought it up really quick.
Oh,
So
yeah.
shout out to them where they were like, yeah, you ever notice how sometimes you'll see like evidence that's supposed to prove one thing, and then next week is actually the evidence that proves the opposite. It was like the evidence of him running away from her was supposed to be the proof that, like, oh, he's being abused, and then it's like, oh, actually he was kind of like being really rough with her and like doing all this shit while he was cheating on her, by the way.
It made the
Like,
context
the
worse.
people who defend him don't like to conveniently forget that little tidbit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we've added context, which now makes you look more suspicious. That's
right.
unfortunate. His fiance Megan Good is really good in the show Harlem, which is a pretty good show. And then it gets to the ending. I'm like, well, that was abrupt. That's what happens when you go from 8-episode seasons to 6, and you just got to wrap everything up with a time jump and start writing people out of character, and it gets weird again.
Yeah, let people actually create the things to the extent that they want to create them. Speaking of which, underground rappers. Let's get to that.
Yeah.
Atmosphere, God Loves Ugly. Now, do you have any relationship with this album? Because for me, this is like the album that I always remember, you know, my white high school and college friends kind of like shouting out and hyping up as like oh man, dude, this guy's the fucking truth. Like, he's talking that shit. It's like you know what I mean? The angry white boy rage, but in underground white rapper, you know what I mean, form. You know, and I say white rapper because like his flow is very kind of, you know what I mean, has that sort of delivery to it in a certain way, which like isn't automatically bad, but like it can be sort of like stilted at certain points where it kind of like, you know, can detract away from how his flow kind of moves in a way, you know what I mean? But you know, you also look at it as like, what, this is his like what debut album from like 2002. You know, a lot of the production of this sounds like, oh my god, I can hear the early 2000s drum productions. You know what I'm saying? Even though I can still enjoy the charm of the minimalist production in certain ways, and the weirdly bluesy sounding stylings at certain points that kind of threw me off. It's like a minimalist bluesy sort of feel to a lot of this album. But yeah, do you know anything about Atmosphere going in?
With all due respect to the apparently legendary status of Slug and Ant, I have never heard of these people until you sent them to me. I have heard of their label because it was one of MF Doom's old labels that he was on, but I was pleasantly surprised because I saw that runtime and I'm like, oh shit. I got a little scared and I'm like, oh thank God it's good. Like, I got nervous because I'm like, 70 minutes of pure bars from 2002. It's a gamble. It could be. It could be great.
It's not always. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, it's like this could be great, or you could have put me onto some old bullshit. But the Leviathan, the deep fried sea creature that recommended this, like, this is a very good album. I'm like, oh thank God, it's good. Jesus, oh I got scared.
Yeah, it's a solid album. I think there's still a lot of charm to it. I think there's there's wonky moments, but I don't think it ever really, you know, loses you too much in terms of, because I think that there's the writing of a lot of this really catches you and pulls you back in with how it'll hit in a certain emotional spot that'll go just a shade deeper than you think it will. You know what I mean? In ways that I think are really fascinating, you know?
Yeah, like there's some solid moments that we'll probably get to. I'm trying to remember which ones. Of just like really good storytelling. I think it was like... because I had a couple standouts too. It's like something like, you know, even based on the movement, Hair, Girl Named Hope. Like, some of them are just real good storytelling moments. I really, as I was like looking along with the lyrics, I'm like, this is good stuff. It was giving me kind of a little bit of a Slick Rick vibe, but definitely like that 2002 version of just like, oh, someone with a narrative. That's good. It's like, if you don't look for artists like that, you sometimes forget that they can do that. Because I think now there's the way that the genre's evolved, hip hop and alternative rap and otherwise, it's a lot of it is like like going against the norm. So having something that's just moderately, like, not say that it's not creative, but I just mean normal and upfront, but still having like interesting metaphors and like plays on words and whatnot within the narrative is just, it's not that it's rare, but I think now we've been more of a, alternative has been anti that. If you're like, like a JPEG Mafia or a Rico Nasty, so the sounds are very different. So it's like people are like, oh, if this is like a norm, then what would be adjacent to a norm? What would be in like the other direction? But it's like, but for the time, this was like slightly against the norm because it, like you said, simpler beats, but like interesting lyrics and like thought provoking, not in a way where everything is super duper deep, but thought provoking, more like, that's an interesting story.
That's the thing I expect from a rapper. I don't expect you to be the next rock hero or whatever. I just expect it to be like, oh, I just wouldn't have thought to write that. Like, dang, I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, oh, that's more clever than I would have expected.
Exactly.
Like
I expect you to show me your art in a way that this all feels off. If this is my first impression of this duo, it's a good impression because I'm like, okay, these are people that are like, I feel like they have something to say and they're down for whoever's willing to listen. And I kind of like that energy that I got from them.
Yeah. I like the first lyric just to give you an idea of the type of lyricism. Which is like, what does he say? He says like, every chapter that I happen to skim appears as if it must be written by me or the Brothers Grimm.
Oh yeah.
It's like kind of bringing you into that sort of Aesop Rockian sort of lyricism. You know what I mean? The late 90s, early 2000s underground white rapper, rhyming style. But yeah, I think it's really like, I feel like the production maybe kind of like can make things feel like a bit of a step down at times, because I remember going from like track 1 to track 2 to track 3 and being like, like what's really pulling me in? I feel like by track 3 I felt a lot more brassy, jazzy harmonica and the minimalist bluesy feel really kind of like, being allowed to take form. But I remember on track 2, it felt a little too simple with the backbeat. Like it was just a simple drum and like
that's actually
a strained man grunting in the background. That little, you know.
I think that's kind of why I like track 2, bass in the movement. Maybe because it's so simple, it forces you to kind of pay more attention to like the intensity of the flow between the lyrics. I'm like,
I get that.
So it's like, I think that's why it worked for me. But I see what you're saying, where it's like, is it too simple now, where it seems almost like it may accidentally seem lazy, even though that's not the intention.
It can detract,
where it ends up taking away from it versus kind of being like, oh, here's where your attention goes.
Although, like I said, I do like some of the lyrics where he said, yo, you heard slugs singing songs about women, like you must be a weakling. I know we can fuck with them. For those who want to ride, come on, climb aboard. I'm going to be an asshole for as long as I'm ignored. So either call my bluff or turn the volume up and make noise for the women that swallow stuff.
Oh, yeah. I was like, hey, yo. Or even, where is it? And to the people that don't feel us, fuck them, don't need them, can't see them, never leave them, never loved them, stuff them full of dick till the hole rips. I don't know what they get for the whole shit. I'm like, fair enough, that was funny.
And then it's like, I'll keep this brief. I just want to say peace and be quiet if you love the police.
Yeah, I like that one.
Well, that what's great about that is that's a great like ironic shouting moment for live crowd moments. You know what I mean? Like, be quiet if you love the police.
It's like, please pipe down if you're a fan of the authorities. I don't know. I think even though this is very much like a hip hop album, the energy, like you were talking about, of just like with Slug, like just being a white rapper guy that really has a lot on his mind. It feels very punk, especially with just like some of the back end tracks at point definitely sounding like him playing to a crowd as he's like shouting out different stuff. I don't know. It made me think a little bit of like Rage's kind of vibe, not in terms of like content, just in terms of like energy, where I'm just like, this make me think of Tom De La Rocha a little bit.
What did you think of Fuck You Lucy? Because this is a song, this is the song that I remember hearing the most from my friends of like, my art school with, white friends playing. They're like, oh man, you gotta hear this shit. Like, there was apparently a friend named Lucy that they ironically played this song to a lot, So, but like, when you get into what the song is about, it's like, god damn, this song's fucking intense.
Yeah, it's good as far as what it's trying to do, but it's like, damn, it's like you really meant, and I was trying to, like, when I was getting through it, I'm like, okay, are you saying Lucy like actually fuck her, Or I mean,
Yeah, what is the
it's,
song
I didn't know if
directly
Lucy was a
actually
metaphor
about?
for like something else.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, in terms of what is their relationship, because it's like,
Yeah.
fuck you, Lucy, for leaving me. Fuck you for not needing me. You know, I want to say fuck you because I still love you. No, I'm not okay, and I don't know what to do. But I remember feeling that earlier. It's like, what is it? What is it? A friend in Chicago said that I should stay persistent. If I stay around, I'm bound to break resistance.
Mm.
You know, fuck you, Lucy, for defining my existence. Fuck you and your differences. So when I heard that, I remember thinking that, like, oh, is he actually not with her? And this is like an unrequited love situation.
That's what I
You
was
know,
wondering.
like I was kind of caught in between because, like, well, it must be because, like, you know, but it must be an actual relationship though, right? Because when it gets to the hook, it has that really affecting part where it's like, and everyone in his life would mistake it as love. Everyone in his life would mistake it as love. Like, that's like a really strong part of like a, oh shit, like,
especially with
you know,
that
either
just being
he's
like
lying to these people and making
Look.
them feel that way, or it's like, or they were convinced that this was something important too, and like, you know, even there, you know, or it's an unreliable narrative situation, you know, and he's saying like, yeah, everyone, you know, believed along with me too that this was love, right? You know, like,
yeah,
I don't
and even
know.
in the second verse, it might reinforce that it is probably more you know, cookies for the road, took me by the soul, hunger for the drama, hunger for the nurture, gonna take it further, the hurt feels like murder, interpret the eyes, read the lines on her face, the sunshine is fake, how much time did I with? It does seem like it's, but also that can also just be a metaphor. But I,
Yeah,
regardless of what the subject is, there's a lot of fire here,
yeah,
for the Lucy in question. But I think it's a good showcase of just like that emotion, that intensity that I think you were talking about. A lot of visceral imagery with the way that he uses language throughout. So
then hair was really interesting, where
yeah,
it kind of
hair.
starts.
I liked hair. I remember liking hair.
The way this story is like, oh, I just met this girl like after one of my shows, and she's really into my stuff, and like, wow, who could imagine this happening? Me, you know, hooking up with this chick who's like a fan of my music. Like, oh, you know, I don't think this usually ends really well, but you know, she's like, she's cool, so maybe I'll just go along with it. Like, what does she say? She says, he says,
Was it the like alcohol and hormones turning out to be anything big part?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was that part.
Baby,
Yeah,
how do you feel?
yeah.
Even kind of bright. I got the fire of vampire inside me tonight. Might be all right. Everything seems tight. I got a good buzz and she's giving me the green light, which is like, oh, well, that's nice. Mention that consent in there.
Right, true, true.
Yeah, tell me, girl, what you doing after? So she says, hopefully hanging out with my new favorite rapper.
Yeah,
This is one of the
yeah.
ones that I did really like. I'm just like, oh, this is a narrative of him meeting a fan. They're hitting it off. Things are going pretty well. It's like, okay, she's pretty cool, actually.
Right, and then he says, unwind and hanging out at the bar. I wonder if she knows that I'm not really a star. She seems to be impressed with my lack of an ego and my self-aware style. I like the way that she smiles. She want to know how I find the words to use. I don't really know, but I can lie if you want me to. Angels sing to me in my sleep. I sold my damaged soul for the magic of speak. Now she's laughing. She likes the sarcasm. But then this part is a little awkward. Like, naturally, I'm asking if she's got a captain. A captain? You mean a man at home? The answer is no. Like, what type of line is that?
It's him talking to himself. It's that internal
naturally,
monologue.
I asked her if
Naturally,
she had a captain.
got a captain. A captain? You mean a man at
A
home? The answer is no.
captain?
Oh no, that's a dialogue. Wait a second. No, I like the part after that. Well, heavens to Betsy, enough about boyfriends already.
Yeah, yeah. And then, but then he's like,
I like the creativity because, like, you would never think to hear heavens to Betsy in a rap song
right.
about hooking up with a groupie at a bar.
Oh, that's how the lead into it happens. He says that, yeah, I never made a practice. He said, I never made a practice of introducing the mattress to women that I met at my own gig. I don't know. Can't imagine anything as small as alcohol and hormones turning out to be anything big. Like, that was the lead into it that I really enjoyed of, like, the, oh, shit, like, being self-aware of that. But then, like, what I love about it is, like, it so feels like it leads into, like, the perfect fantasy. Like, everything's going great. He's meeting this perfect woman. She's driving him home. But, you know, she's got a couple in her. You know, she's got a couple drinks in her. She's like, her drunk ass turns to look at me and she says, you're so beautiful from the hair to the soul. I can't believe that I never met you before. It feels like I've been waiting for you my whole life. She missed the red light, hit a pickup truck, and we both died. And it just ends right there. I'm like, whoa.
Absolutely diabolical.
It's like, God damn.
It's like,
What
damn,
a
you didn't
fucking
even make it to
horror
the
story.
sheets. Right there in the streets, huh?
Ah, man. What a life. And then you get God Loves Ugly, the other big
Yeah,
joint from this album. God Loves Ugly.
the titular. Okay, what did you think about the titular track? Because I, it's a peculiar case where it's like I think I'm trying. I'm still sitting on it. I don't think
Huh.
it's bad. I'm not. I feel like I'm not connecting with what he was going for. With I feel like I'm missing something with it.
The intros for a lot of these songs feel a little misleading, where it's just like,
Mm,
wait, is that what the song's gonna be about? Oh, I guess not really. Like God Loves Ugly, like it starts off with that little like, you hear someone go like, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just standing." It's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And it's like, "Oh, you might come out." Like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You're standing in the rain. I'll wait. Who are you waiting for?" It's like, "Oh, just a guy out at the show." It's like, "Wait, Slug? You're waiting for fucking Slug?"
mm,
And there's like a little thing at the end of every one of these clips where there's like a little motif of being like, "Oh man, that guy's so fucking ugly," or "Oh, you're acting so ugly," or
yeah.
something like that. And as like, I don't know how it fully comes together. I mean, I guess a little bit,
I'm
but
not sure
it
either.
felt like that would have been. It felt like that skit should have been at the beginning of the last song. You know what I mean? Of
Yeah.
like, oh, just waiting for Slug, and then that song plays out. But to have this skit play out at the end of the song where he just died with his groupie feels weird, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, but I did like some of the lyrics where he's like, "Why scream when you could lose yourself inside the wide screen? Let
Yeah.
life be a bowl of melted ice cream, or be the deer that's caught in my high beams. I'm rolling with the brights on, scared stiff, really just too much to bear with. Paranoid, rocking around, careless. No wonder you're in love with your therapist. Go to
Mm.
sleep, my little time bomb." Like I love like little lyrics like that. I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Like even
It felt
in
like
the
a
first verse.
self-effacing sort of like, yeah, pulling himself apart type of
Mm.
track, but it's still coming with that sort of like God loves ugly through that of he brings it up I think later on of like, oh, I've been looking for proof that God loves ugly, of like,
Okay.
well, he made us imperfect and all this weirdness, so maybe this is what we're supposed to be and God loves that or something like that. You know what I mean? This little
Mm.
weirdly
Okay. That.
religious message through this more sort of more a atheistic, or agnostic sort of look at life,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Kind of a place of just especially it being I think a slight uh take on the turn of phrase that God don't like ugly, so it's just like God
Yeah.
loves ugly. I think is a good premise to explore. And I do like some of the lines that, like, even in the first verse, I think you got the sickness, I suggest you get it cured, caught up in the mix
Huh.
of a bottle full of fix. I'm a hobble down the street till I reach Knob Creek. I'm like, okay, I like that. I
Hmm.
got that one. It's not that I don't like you. I just don't want to speak. You fucking freak. I keep your days out of my week. Okay,
Yeah.
it's
You
like
days out of
he
my
got
week.
he got some. Again, I think he's a good writer. Especially being able to get like these little zingers in here, in and out. But I think as you kind of explain the theme, it's sitting a little bit more better now in terms of what he was going for. Because I see the title, and then I'm listening to it, and I feel like I was missing that. But it's not
Mm.
to say that it wasn't there. It's just that I might have missed it in trying to connect.
Like the
Like the
esoteric
intro.
presentation of the lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah, with like the presentation of the lyrics, and like with the intro, it's like, okay, how did these tie together with it? But it's like yeah, because it's I don't know, it's interesting as like a title track, especially with it being the title of the album.
Yeah. Then we get a song about a friend, which again with these titles, like I thought it was gonna be about one thing, but I think it's mostly like kind of battle raps. I think like,
Mm-hmm.
or no, it's not. It's like battle raps, but then it kind of becomes like story raps a little bit. Because I remember like there's a featured rapper on here. I think I Self Divine, and he kind of like says kind of battle rap shit. But then
Mm-hmm.
but Slug is kind of going like a overextended the amount of time allotted, broke the engine, I don't know, cracked the block. Now I'm standing at this gravel roadside festival, and I ain't trying to move because the view is incredible. And it's like, okay, that wasn't like a battle rap. That was just like sounded like you were just telling us about a random time that your car broke down, but it was in front of like a really beautiful festival. So it's like the joy and pain of life. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. But it's like, what is it? but then the later on, it's like, you know, it felt like there was some sort of like dope lyrics. I'm trying to see if dang, I didn't really directly quote them. Oh, but that's what it was. Yeah, so there was this one lyric where it's like, yeah, that's what it was too. So the hook was like standing at the bottom of the steps, and if I tilt my head a little, I could look up her dress, and I'm willing to bet that if she moved, that she'd move if she knew. So
Yeah.
I'ma tap her on the shoulder. I'ma give her a clue. Like what? What?
The hell?
Like,
I'm a
yeah,
pervert,
like what is
and
that?
I wanted to know.
Yeah,
That's my kink. I'm a new type of freak.
like I was like, wait, huh? How is that related?
I'm a whole new freak, babe. You ain't heard of nothing like me, but yeah.
But wait, was this the one?
This one the one with,
yeah.
with one. I'm forgetting the guy's name because it showed his name on the thing, but not on the album. I thought that was the next one is the one with I Self Divine. This one is just Slug.
Oh, never mind. Yeah.
So Song About Friend. I mean, is
Flesh. That's the one where
yeah,
like,
that because I think that was one I'm like, oh, okay, I really like this, and then I heard another voice. I'm like, I don't think that's the same guy I've been hearing here.
Yeah, and then that's what it was, because there's one random part where like there's sort of like battle raps kind of happening, and then randomly you hear like this mini skit happening of like someone going like, "Yo, man, how you doing, man?" It sounds like someone's walking somewhere. He's like, "Oh no, I'm chilling, man." It's like, "Yo, you look like you're doing pretty good right now, man." And then the guy's like, "Nah, I'm not doing that well, actually." And then he goes like,
Oh, yeah.
then the guy's like, "Well, I was wondering if I could borrow a dollar." He's like, "Nah, you can't borrow shit."
He was like, no, actually.
That just came out of nowhere. I'm just like, and it had that vague feeling of like, is this guy, you know, when you're like walking through New York and you kind of have the energy of, I can't tell if this guy is just passively asking me for a dollar, you know, like kind of down his luck, or if it's like, this guy's gonna rob me if I look like I am doing too well. Yeah, like,
yeah, it's like,
because the way he's like, oh, you look like you're doing all right. Yeah.
Or this, it's like, yeah, man, for sure. Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I mean, I think Song About Friend, it didn't really stick with me. Not bad. It's just kind of like, I think one of the more middle songs. But...
yeah, weirdly intense hook though, with the lines about coke and we came here to slit your throats.
Oh my bad,
like,
I was talking about the last one. No, I do love the chorus because that with how it opens is so. Yeah, exactly. It said you came here to sniff some coke. I'm like, all right, well,
damn.
My attention is had. No, I really liked Flesh, actually. I think that's one of the ones that felt like you're saying, it had that battle rappy feel, but I think it is more story. Yeah, gift to gab. This mic gets grabbed. Life gets dragged like racist lipstick on men's faces.
Yeah,
a passive racist. Pathless makeshift glass knife aimed for the face. Like, it's so aggressive, and I love it.
Yeah.
So it's like, Flesh, I wound up really liking. I really like I Self Divines, what the energy that he brings to it too. You know, even just starting at, you know, can I run up in the settlement? Should I change you like the government? Burn rhymes like sniffing on doublemint. Make troubles, then I blow off suckers. Then it's like, okay, yeah, these fucking socialism bars. Go for it, bro.
Then Saves the Day was okay. The hook felt a little underwhelming, but I did like, you know, how the self-deprecating bars in the verses, right? Like, I sleep next to women that I don't deserve. They like to hurt my pride while I work their nerves. Well, once upon a time, it was worth it. When the urges get fed and the purpose finds a path to the surface, is respect considered a breakfast food? I'm guilty of the type of attitude that wrecks your mood. The truth can be a pain, and I hate to do it. Either face the music or get away from me, stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that later line was like, and I'm not that friendly when this cup is empty. It's a side effect from trying to find the fucks that sent me. We're trying to find the fucks that you sent me, or something like that.
Yeah, and even just like near the for the first chorus of just like him really trying to feel something, you know, I should rob a pet store, let the dogs wild. I should close all the schools just to make the kids smile. Seize the limit, let the sky be the moment. Put the key to the ignition. I'm gonna ride these donuts. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of getting out there, trying to do something, feel something, like like make yourself available for the moment.
And I like Love Life. I like, you know, when this sort of like,
I did like Love
bleak, you know, when this bleak, you know, poet you know what I mean, rapping, is always talking about dark shit, and then kind of has a track like this where it's like explicitly saying like, you know, and if she has the nerve to let me dump a couple last words, I'm gonna turn to the earth and scream, "Love your life." You know, the sort of like, you know, yeah, appreciate life, even though, you know, you're going through all this stress. Like, you still have to, like, you know, appreciate. Like, it's so interesting. The complexities, like I said, is like, here I am thinking about death again. Humbles out the stress, helps the breath get in. I need to check my friends as well as my next of kin to let them know I love them until the end. Like, it was such a, like, whoa, it's like, oh, only on, you know, it's like, as much as he's like, oh, stressed out about death and all these things, it's like, but those are the, it felt like he was communicating the idea, like, but those are the things that remind you of, like, you know, how much time you've got on this earth and to stay in contact with those people that you love. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was
like
so interesting.
Even his take on, like, kind of remixing that the Lord's Prayer, you know, and when the soul begins to reap, I think she'll know me from the sleep. I keep caught in the corner of my bloodshot eyes. You know, if she has the nerve to let me dump a couple of, yeah, and that's what.
Yeah.
So the line right before that, you know, I never expected a bowl of cherries. I'm just a Virgo trying to find my own version of the Virgin Mary. And when I let them carry me to a cemetery, I want to be buried with a pocket full of clarity. Which is like, well, shit. Fair enough. Want to live a nice, strong, fulfilling life on your terms.
Yeah.
You know, so it's,
and then
I like Love Life. Yeah.
And then it leads right into the next song. There's like a little bit of like production that like happens that like, you know, kind of has it sort of transition over into the breathing track where yeah, it's just like, you know, about the sort of like Zen breathing, like, you know, keeping control of your you know, mind and shit like that. And then I like the little lyrics, which is like, you know, simplistic spiral and work your way backwards till the bastards collapse and choke on my last words, and it'll be back and I'll be back when it's happy hour. So just pour me another and ignore me, my brother. You know.
Yeah, it's about, you know, taking your time in this life. It's like things already happen fast enough. You know, just especially with us being on, let's see, what is the track 11, and seeing how, you know, when I was kind of reading up on Atmosphere a little bit, just like as a group, and seeing how many goddamn albums they have.
Yeah, these guys they've done a lot of shit.
I respect the depth of this guy's like lyrical dexterity. Because for starters, this is 2002, and you put out an album's worth of music that's basically 70 minutes, and have been doing this for the better part of like almost 25 years, or over 25 years. That's impressive, all things considered, with like very regular output from there. Like, I think they had an album a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, they keep doing shit.
Yeah, like, yeah. Let's see, last album was 2018. Yeah. So
because I know God Loves Ugly. That's the one that I'd always heard my friends play. Then Seven's Travels, I believe, at you know, when I used to be on E-Pinions, I remember people talking about that album. And then When Life Gives You Lemons, You Paint That Shit Gold. And then I kind of got into them myself for The Family Sign. Because that was the Let Me Be the Last to Say It'll Be Okay. That was like the one about domestic abuse. That was really deep. Then Fishing Blues, I think, was the last one I really got into in 2016. So yeah, he's done a lot of shit.
An album in 2023. God damn it.
Yeah, and I have only got into the surface. I love how the latest album is called "So Many Other Realities Exist Simultaneously." It's like you're damn straight. Like the whole fucking universe of this music.
Like, you're not wrong, but sheesh.
Yeah, but getting back to it.
Yeah, getting back to the album itself.
Yeah, Breathing, like I said, was a solid track. Vampires was interesting. His hook game is a little weird sometimes. Like, the world is a vampire. She eats her kids. Let's hide the bodies under the bridge.
But and the thing is, because it's just like, it's just the repetition of it too. It's like, it's not longer usually than a couple lines. So it's like, the world's vampires. Eat their kids. Let's hide the bodies under the. I'm like, because your chorus is going to be what stands out because it repeats, and especially with it only being 2 lines. I'm over here. I'm like listening to it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and then he changes the word to like the country's a vampire.
Like, I'm over here like looking back at the lyrics. I'm just like, okay, how is it? It's such a visceral form of like language to use and connecting it to the lyrics. Like, it's not that it doesn't work. It just kind of almost pulls you out. You're like, God damn, okay.
A
Yeah.
little too metaphorical, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
like it's a strong image metaphor with like from a strong lyricist, but it's like, do they tie? It feels like somebody plugging a plug aggressively into an outlet. It's like, it didn't have to be that hard. It didn't have to be that
yeah.
intense.
And the first lyric is like, okay, you kind of get part of the metaphor here, where he's like, I do believe in monsters. I call them officers. I know enough to keep an eye on them and how to talk to them. Some of y'all are peace, but even one too many is still a decent number for the breeding of a beast. I was like, ooh, the fucking social commentary right there.
It's like, you know what? I get the feeling this guy isn't fan of authority, specifically police officers. Yeah, even in just like the second verse with him making his his clear comments on the American conflict. You know, she lurks in the alley with the wrong reality. Allegiance, honor, keep it all in the family. Consumes the young, blind, deaf, and the dumb. Drains the veins and put them under her thumb, or under the thumb. She's on the television. Celebrate status quo. Energy, push mute on the remote control. Yeah, this is like, I think that was why I like this one. I'm like, unfortunately, this is still very relevant.
Yeah.
It's sadly, the music is still relevant 2 decades and some change later. Oh man.
God damn it. But then you got a girl named Hope. I like the little xylophone sample in this track, but it does feel a little aimless as the track goes on. I mean, I also like the Nina Simone sample that came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, whoa. The four walls, they surround me. Loneliness has found me. I was like,
okay, that was this the one that like was going and then kept going, or am I thinking of one of the other tracks?
I think so, because it's like,
because I'm like, okay, this is the end, and then I looked and saw an extra 2 minutes. I'm like,
no, that's not the final. That's the track 18.
Oh, okay,
but
okay, never mind.
For this track, there's a like I like it for a little while, and then it feels a little aimless. But then the way it ends, well, like this is apparently the actual lyric where he says like, a storyteller deals with life, not hope. Girl, if we gotta go, if we gotta get along better, we'd be dope. And that's the noise that disrupts the boys when the cue ball smacks its goal. And these are the words that disturb your earth while I walk away with your hope, or something like that. And when I originally heard it, I thought he was saying like, and these are the words that disturb your earth when I walk away with your hope. And like, you hear the little xylophone, beep, 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 beep. So I thought it was like, oh, I'm walking away with your bitch.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. It's like, it was, no, I think it was solid. It was a solid one. I don't think it was one of the ones that stuck out to me as much. I think it was one of the tracks that kind of passed by a little bit more for me, but.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Then you get the God Loves Ugly reprise, which I felt was my least interesting, enjoyable one. Because like the overblown singing was just so weird in contrast to like how understated this album was. So it's like, where's this Tech 9 level singing coming from? Like, you know. And like, we are here to make you feel happy. I was like, what? Why is this here? And the thing is, like, Slug is still like rapping against that at certain points, so you can kind of hear his voice, like the understated voice, rapping against that really over the top thing. So it just feels even more confusing. Like, why are you doing this? Is this about to mean something, or like what's going on? Yeah, that was weird.
It's like, you know the vibes, but yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree. This is probably like my least favorite, just because. It's not even because it has, like, nothing to say. It's just kind of... I feel like it's trying to reinforce the theme of God Loves Ugly, which I don't think is bad. But given that I was kind of mixed on it initially, it's just kind of reinforcing that mehness of it.
Yeah.
Me, you know, it's like... because it didn't click. So it's just like, okay, it's a little bit more of not clicking. I mean, this one's just a lot more in your face. It's just... with God loves you, we can make sure you have fun. Yes, we can. Yes, we shall. Yes, we will. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, and it's like, is this being ironic? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's
here?
like, it's like, I get it could be a parallel to a cult, but also wasn't the message like God loves you for who you are? Or maybe it's like, then that would mean this. I don't know. Maybe I don't get it. And I accept that. Maybe I'm missing.
Or maybe it was some like part of an original concept he was going for, but then just kind of abandoned. Maybe, you know.
Yeah, like I think it actually might work if it was just attached to the original.
Right. It's like
It might have been
this
a
is an
little
extra
stronger
bit.
if it was like if they were not even like as separate tracks. I mean, just as one God Loves Ugly track, it might have
Yeah.
worked a little bit. But it being, the first one being track 6 and this being fucking track 14, it's like there's a
Yeah.
bunch of different other themes and tones that have gone on, and then we're going back
Right.
to that. Is, eh.
Yeah, a little too disconnected.
Yeah.
And then you get Modern Man's Hustle,
Like
which
this.
again another track that I enjoy well enough.
Yeah,
But
I like it.
it does feel like the hook feels like it's I don't know how to describe. Like, okay, so the first verse is like, the first time I met the devil was at a Motel 6. She left hell to spend a weekend on Earth just for kicks. So it's like, oh, okay, it's about it's a bad-hearted woman or something to that effect, right? Like, sexy little bitch, shorter than expected, about 5'5", big and thick in the breast and thighs, beautiful dark eyes, a strong stare, large lips, soft hands, and long hair. And so it's like, oh, okay, so we're really about to get a story. Yeah. And apparently, like, there's a running, character named Lucy Ford that he apparently has a relationship with. And it's some Kendrick Lamar type shit where it's like, Lucy, Lucifer, Lucy Ford, metaphor thing going on there, yeah.
Message.
So like, it could, yeah, right. It could be a metaphor for his girlfriend. It could be a metaphor for life and drugs or whatever.
Temptation, sin, whatever.
Of course. But then the verse ends with like, I said I'll make you smile for the simple fact that I'm good at it. I'll make you smile just so I can sit and look at it. And it's just like, oh, okay, it's giving a very, charged imagery of like, man, I just want to, be funny enough just so I can look at them titties, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
all right,
so
that's
fine.
the hook.
I just want to look at you.
Right. But then the hook is like, I will show you all you need to know. You must hold on to anyone that wants you, and I will love you through simple and the struggle. But girl, you gotta understand the modern man must hustle. And it's like, is that what that was leading up to? Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
And as the later verse goes on, it sounds like he's like talking to a baby or something like that. And I think maybe I thought that just because of like the music sounds like, so the person who's singing in the background sounds a bit like a baby that's going like, oh, like kind of whining a little bit like that. So, and, he has a specific part where he says, she holds no history of how precious, he talks like this weird sometimes. She holds no history of how precious she be. Lay your head on my chest, speak of the stress, kick your feet up and rest before we clean up the nest. I hate to see you upset, it cramps the position, and if you didn't know, you better listen. And like, I don't know, like, there's part of it that feels like, it's like, oh, is it supposed to be like, hush little baby, you know what I mean, sort of thing, like, but I'm about to help you and raise you and something like that. Yeah, he says, feed me your troubles and need me to cuddle, like, I was trying to figure out, like, oh, what's going on, like, yeah.
I think, I think in verse 3, it seems like it's the transition in, like, a relationship from, oh, I met this girl, she's down and dirty and she's so fine. Then it's like the evolution of his relationship adjacent to her, be it like, oh, now I got this kid or we got this family or whatever the hell, and how his perspective to, the whole notion of like a modern man's hustle. So I think that can work. I think the issue is the chorus doesn't maybe do a good job supporting a transition between
connecting the tissue,
what points in his life he's at adjacent to, like, whatever this metaphorical person is, that it's because it's his perspective, but we don't really get a great idea of what's going on with him at that point other than just like what he's observing. Talk about even the start of verse 2, like, who cares what Jane says, she always spits the same spit, I'd rather kill the radio and listen to the rain hit, little sister needs seclusion, somehow she'll discover it through pop music. It's like, so what is this about now? Because it can't be the, bouncing back and forth between the healing and the hollering, riding the outer ring of your own private Saturn, thoughts scattered all across the gray matter. Again, good metaphors. I'm just trying to keep up with who he's talking about. I think is the struggle, because it's like, it's well written. I just wish I could keep track of who he's talking about, because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to know if they're the same person from verse 1. But then later, it's like, it hurts to watch Lucy lose the dream. I had the pleasure of seeing our hero kick and scream. It's like, I'm missing perspective, but I'm liking the lyrics. That's the So I like it.
Yeah.
I like how it sounds. I like how it
Like,
plays,
the imagery kind of like, unstuck from what's happening around it is just kind of like, oh, that's interesting how that, sticks out like that. But yeah, how does it make the full picture? Then you've got One of a Kind, which I remember enjoying, like for how he's like, oh, kind of calling out, rappers industry. I love how he goes like, it goes 1 little, 2 little, 3 little indie rap, headphones, backpack, watch them all piggyback, switch up my styles and they all complain, but see which kids next year sound the same as me. The same shit yesterday was like today, only difference is I trust even less in what you say. But all in all, I still make the noise, I still break the toys, I still hate your voice, I still say fuck a major label till it limps. Put your deal up on our table and we'll show you who's the pimp. Like, I fucking love that. Like, just laying that out of like indie versus mainstream and like, no, I'm my own man and like I get to fucking, make my money my way. Like, I thought that was really cool. Then the hook just felt a little underwhelming with how it plays out, where it's like, who am I? One of a kind. Send them one at a time. You're all the same, only separated by kick, snares, and names.
Yeah.
And some of y'all even share the same names. So fuck you and your lies, baby. Sure, no shit. Like, that, it just felt like such an awkward moment there. Like, and some of y'all share the same name. Like, what? Who shares the same rap names? Who are you talking about?
He might have the same issue I have the time that I've done rapping, where coming up with a chorus is some hard shit. Cause
yeah, exactly.
Like, coming up with a chorus that not only is like catchy and fun for people to say, because like it's not a bad chorus, but like to your point, it's something that's repeatable. It's, like you said, who am I? It's like, whoa, whoever you're saying to, because he says RCA earlier, so he's clearly not afraid to list other MCs, and I get what he's going for. It's like, some of y'all even share the same names, Baby, Lil Baby, Da Baby.
Maybe, but this is like 2002. I don't know.
Yeah, so this is 2002, so it's just all the Lils by that point.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's just like, so I get it. This is, coming up with choruses is hard. It's not a bad chorus. Yeah. It's just kind of like, it reinforces the message. It's just not. It's not like a snappy chorus. Is the thing. Yeah. So it's like then, it works with the song though.
Yeah, but then we get Blame Game, and how did this one hit you? The Jamaican vibes he was going for with this track. I was like,
it's like checking my track record. Is like, I think this is one that is, I like this one actually.
Yeah, like I didn't hate it. Like he wasn't 311ing it up too much. He wasn't trying to do the you got to come original. You got to come original. He wasn't trying to get his Sebastian on. You know what I mean? Like he was just kind of singing in a bit of a dissonant way, like on the hook. So I was like, all right, it's not too bad. The hook was a little underwhelming, but I actually thought the verses were cool and the production was interesting.
Yeah, I think what was selling me was like his lyrics and the production of it overall. So I kind of just passed by the kind of, here I am cinnamon, like kind of vibe that he's going. But it's like, even Guns to Aimless, Songs are Nameless, How Long You Been Famous, I Claim This Region 200-mile radius, Twin Cities Flavors, Rhyme Sayers Got the Tastiest, and You Can Hate Me as part of the territory as long as you know it's impossible to ignore me. I think I was just like fucking with his energy through it. So it's like,
I get that. Especially
his confidence.
That's what it is. Like, there's a scrappy, sort of quality to his rapping delivery and word choices, right? Where he says like, oh, but that's good for me. It's hard to hide a magic card when you wear a short sleeve. Force feed what I've got when they're not hungry. Trying to replace everything that they ripped from me. Bloat the tummy and choke the dummy theory. Beat the point dead until these folks hear me clearly. Like, just really interesting sort of turns of phrase. And what does he say at the end? The same guy that grabbed the mic and made your girl want to fuck, the same MC still running on an empty tank of luck. That's what I mean by like this sort of scrappy, like, but fuck it, I'm doing it my way sort of thing.
And I think that's why I can enjoy him as a legit MC. Is like he brings an energy to him that I do like. As far as like Slug and his rapping style and everything. It always makes me curious as to what their most recent album is to see how he would have changed over 20 years. But it's like he brings fire. He means what he's saying. Even at the end of the
and as someone who's as someone who's heard his later albums, it's like he only improves as someone able to really put words together and get some really interesting production behind it. Like I still actually think, because I remember Fishing Blues, I think still has a bit of that bluesy quality to it, but I think he's get some producers and stuff like that can kind of like, you know, really imbue it with an interesting sort of you know, wrinkle to it. You know what I'm saying? As time goes on, so
yeah,
yeah,
like,
you know,
with how early this was in their studio releases, I am impressed with how, like, despite some of the production being like simple in certain ways, I do think it was still somewhat creative, and it still like kind of drew my ear for the most part, and his dexterity to be able to kind of like spit over it in his own way. Like, it still felt his, but I can tell that they're like they know each other well to know what to do with what the other produces. So I respect that about them. Just kind of like as a team. Because not everybody
yeah,
can do
yeah.
that. Some people just get thrown a beat and do their best, and that is how we get Young Miami. So,
but then we finally get Shrapnel. This is the track which was like
yes,
way too long. There's like only
yeah,
2 verses, but then it just does the hook, and then it goes in that really weird, like weirdly long sort of breakdown of the harmonica and all that sort of shit, where it kind of sounds like that sort of working on a, you know, working in a fucking prison line, like cracking rocks, and you hear the, you know, harmonica with the soaring eagle over, you know, top of it, with the you know what I mean, while they're swinging the pickaxes, you know, like that was going on for like a weirdly long time, and then it just switched back to the verse, to the beat again, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, fine. But yeah, and I kind of got what he was going for, you know, where he's saying like, I'm bringing you the cracked and broken bits of me, you know, I'm here to bring you shrapnel, you know. But yeah, like I quoted a lot of these lyrics here.
Outro. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah, like you know, there's still some good lyrical parts. Like I can't remember who asked me, but someone asked me how long I thought I should be allowed to be atop this trash heap. I didn't answer because I'm tired of criticizing the masses. Inspired the support inspired the support, the devouring of the self, all the power to the people who dig potholes. Place me in a glass case full of lost treasure and fossils. Got a right to be hostile. My love is. That was a little weird too. My love was getting gang raped by an army full of money-hungry crocodiles.
Whoa, whoa!
Like, all right, buddy.
It's like, well, all right, I guess. Yeah, you know, even you know, verse 2, let go of your throat if you're dying to breathe, and finally we've begun to make a little progress and a single dock in this river that can stop us. Lost in the mix like a feeble overdub. Got me screaming at these shipping till these people know what's up. He's himself. He's strong. He's confident.
Yeah.
Again, visceral imagery. Very good at it. I think just how it wound up hitting. It's like, oh, it's like, all right, yeah, he's here. He's got something to say. He's saying it about just like himself, the world, you know, who he is, how he thinks the world should go, how he thinks people should kind of see themselves. About, you know, it's kind of like release your inhibitions, like feel the rain on your skin.
I like the final lyrics. Is like a wondering about the thunder running through this blood. I try to keep my cool, but the hat fits too snug. Studied the love, took my degree, shoved it in a bottle, chucked it into the sea.
Yeah, which good closer, and then it keeps going after the chorus. It's like, okay, chorus, cool, all right, and it's like there's still sound playing after the okay.
Yeah, and you know, well, overall, what would you give the album? How do you feel about it?
I'll say an 8, but I highly respect it as like from an artistic standpoint, like what he was
like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's 10.
Like I'd give it like, you know, there's 1 or 2 moments that keeps kind of pulling it back for me, even though I recognize the sort of brilliance of the lyrics. So I say I give it like a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
You know, like I feel like it's definitely over average. It's an above average album, but it's like, I don't know, something about like giving it quite the 4 just feels like there's, you know, 1 or 2 just enough things, like the last track being slightly too long for no reason.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of wonky moments with the flow that just kind of like pulls me out of it just enough. But I still acknowledge that it's like, it's still pretty well put together for how much is on this album. You know, like for how long this is, I still was engaged enough to, be interested from track to track for the most part. But there still was sort of like, moments that felt a little loose in terms of like, oh, well, if this would have tightened this up, tightened it up, I could see this being an unmitigated classic. But as it is, it's like, oh, it's definitely a dope, like first outing from this artist. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
yeah.
To put out like a body of work on your like first second go round that's 70 minutes
Right.
and most of it is like I'd say 75-80% of it hits good.
Yeah.
20% of it really comes down, I think, just to a little bit of execution. In terms of just like from a like final mix and mastering standpoint. But it's like,
I get that for sure.
Yeah, so it's like some of these I think could have been moved to. I don't think that they're worthless. I just think it maybe could have been moved to a different project, because I'm sure that there's not like an explicit overarching theme, but there's a couple here that I think run through. So it's just it's the gamble basically. You put, you make an album with 18 tracks. It would be impressive if even half of those were good. So I think to have more than half that I think are pretty damn solid, that it's like I liked on as I was listening to it. That's good, especially with how early this is. Like, this is good. It's a good album. It being almost 25 years out, still holds up for the most part. That's impressive. Like, his flow is good. The production maybe simple at points, but creative, enough where I'm just like, oh, okay, this, like, with it being indie, I'm like, they're doing different stuff than what it would, because we talked about these eras too. It's not like all traditional crunk era, late gangster rap era music. It's not pimp, hustling music.
Right.
It's its own sound. So it's like Ant does a good job with the production. Slug can spit. It very much makes me think of Rage Against the Machine, but I mean that as much of a compliment as that can be.
Right.
So it's just like, if they did explicitly only hip hop, I think this is how it would sound, and that's a high compliment.
I get that for sure. And yeah, I think that's about the long and short of it. It's a solid enough album. Definitely, nothing to sneeze at, but like, definitely has like just slightly enough pitfalls, but like in a way where, you say that's part of the charm of this being this, indie, outfit, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Definitely still showing love despite the flaws. And in fact, maybe that's like, this guy is such a raw artist that it's kind of like a, fuck it, that's part of the aesthetic, you know what I mean? That's part of the charm, Yeah. This has been the REviewAnew podcast. Thank you so much for listening to our breakdown. Like I said, if you want to make requests for hip-hop albums, Ko-fi.com/RapCritic, or movie reviews, or live stream listens if you if you feel so inclined, you know what I'm saying? So get with it, act like you want it, Ko-fi.com/RapCritic or Patreon.com/RapCritic to get all the content first, plus join me for private streams. I'm actually going to be taking next month off. March, you know what I'm saying? I like taking time every couple of months to really like, be able to breathe and stuff. But, I like having stuff still going on behind the scenes on the Patreon, so you'll get access to live streams. I'll still be doing like, exclusive podcasts, but I just won't be doing the main Rap Critic show. So it'll be like, live streams, private live streams, video game nights, music nights, you know what I'm saying, where you can play your joints, where we're just like going back and forth and that shit. That's a cool thing we like to do too on the Discord, on the Patreon Discord, you know what I'm saying? So get with it, act like you want it. And until next time for the REviewAnew podcast, I'm DJ.
And I'm Will the Greatest.
And fuck you, Lucy. Do 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 do.
Give me back that football, bitch.
Right. I wish one time you would just kick her.
Just like Family Guy.
Exactly. Like, that's the one sort of like, nah, you deserve that. You deserve that. You got that one coming.